When I was in the halfway prison house from 1988 to 1991, when I started out there, when I went to bed at night, I would I would clutch a rosary in my hands when I went to sleep at night. I'd be saying the prayers of the rosary. There's like 10 beads, and on each bead you say the prayer, the Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee prayer. You say that 10 times, moving your hand along the beads. Then you get to the next bead, and I forget now what the prayers were, but I would be saying that rosary to go to sleep. Okay, and one of the things that I was doing that before was to keep myself from any kind of autoerotic stimulation of myself while I was there. Now, I had a roommate, so I didn't want to be doing any kind of autoerotic stimulation of myself. So I was still young, comparatively, in my 30s, and had a very strong sexual drive. But this is what I was handling it, was going to sleep. Now, here's the thing that used to baffle me. When I'd wake up in the morning, I'd find that I'd broken that rosary apart in my sleep. You know, a rosary is like a circular type thing, okay? It has like the first few beads, and then it goes around in a circle. And I kept waking up. When I woke up in the morning, the thing was broken. The circle, it had been broken apart. And I'd say, my God, this is not a good sign. Well, when I would say this is not a good sign for me to being a Christian, that I'm breaking these in my sleep, breaking them in half, breaking them apart. And, well, actually, when I look upon it now, because I did end up converting to Judaism, and while I was in that halfway prison house, I was going to Jewish services on Friday nights, okay, for a lot of the time. And at the same time, you know, I was saying this rosary, but waking up with the rosary broken, and I'd say, this is not a good sign, as I just said. Well, when I look back now, since I did convert to Judaism, I said, that was a sign that I was not a Christian, and I didn't like what I was doing. Well, the reason why I'm thinking about that now is I just woke up like a few minutes ago, okay? I fell asleep after eating, because every time I eat, I'm virtually knocked unconscious. So I had dinner, and I got knocked out. So I fell asleep in a chair downstairs, and then I came up here, laid down in bed, fell asleep. I don't remember what time it was, but when I woke up, this is the baffling thing here. This watch on my left wrist, the band fits perfectly, okay? I wake up and it's off my wrist. I said, where is my watch? Now, I have Tokyo, Japan time on this watch. Okay? And I woke up and it was off my wrist. How did that happen? It fits perfectly. If there's a wrist where a watch is going to fall off, it's going to be this one. The right wrist, where I have the time here on the east coast of the United States. This one is a little loose. It doesn't fit good. But it's never fallen off. And I wake up, and it was gone. Well, where was it? Well, shortly after I woke up, my wife joined me up here, and I'm glad she did. Because it's warm up here, and now she's going to sleep here for the second night. There she is. Well, we shook the covers, and this watch that had come off my left wrist, it was over on her side of the bed. How did it get over there? Well, she hadn't been there. Nevertheless, how did that thing come off my wrist? I gotta say, I used to be baffled and think, oh, wait a minute, I'm breaking these rosaries. I would buy another one, and they weren't cheap. So, and I wake up, and the thing was broken again. I was breaking them in my sleep, and I eventually said, to hell with Christianity. You know, I never believed, and I'm tired of these ritualistic. What do you call these? They're like superstitious types prayers that I was saying. Okay, I was saying, I'm just repeating these in a superstitious type way when I don't even believe, in the deity or anything. It's just, I'm mumbling these thinking there's some kind of, I don't know, psychic power I'm going to get by tapping into this psychic type environment that religion was. Now, as that I've converted to Judaism, I say, no, this is not a psychic thing. Okay, God is who my religion now says he is, and I absolutely believe that. So, well, there's that. So, I gotta say that waking up with my watch off, the watch that has Tokyo, Japan time off my wrist, when it fits perfectly, I say, how did this happen? And what does it mean? I don't know. But I don't like the sign of it. Because there's one believed that there was something for me there, but when I think now about what came of those events where I was breaking those rosaries in my sleep repeatedly, I had to stop buying them because every time I bought one, I woke up and the thing was broken. Footnote. I believe I said in one of these recordings that I put online, I said, this person I've been calling Bishuasi, and I may have been directly addressing her, but I've made so many of these notes now and put them online, like 2 or 3 a day. I don't even remember what I've said in them. I may have made I'm just outpourings of direct honesty from me about all my thoughts. Okay, so I don't remember what I'm just saying, outpourings of personal information about myself, so I don't remember what I've said. But I did say in one of these recordings, I said, look, it's just space under our door, okay? You don't want to put a message in our mailbox. You don't want to write a letter through the mail. Well, you could come to the front door. And if you want to put a note under that door, a piece of paper will slide under it. You could take your message, write it, and slide it under the door into our house. Okay? Well, the next day, virtually the next day, something had been slid under that front door. And it was meaningful. I'm not going to say what it was, but it was meaningful. And I said, do you mean to tell me she came here and put that under our front door? It was meaningful. So I say to myself, if that was her, and it seems to have been, what did it mean? Well, it meant to me, it said, this is how I interpreted that. I said, what that seems to mean is, what she slipped under that front door and the way in the timing and the way it happened. I said, I think it means that she's going to come into this house and stay. at least for a while. She's coming here. She's going to come in here to our house. I've been inviting her to come for a couple of years now. I bought her a bed. In fact, the bed my wife and I are sleeping in, I bought this bed for her. I should be directly addressing her, but it's too scary, I guess. I just noticed that I'm not directly addressing her. So let me change. Let me say, I bought this bed for you. I did. I bought the bed for you, and for the first time ever, like 2 nights ago, I moved the bed in here in my office bedroom. First, it was in my wife's office. I figured if you came into our house, you could stay in there, in our house, and I'd be in here in another bed. I have a Japanese roll-out bed that I bought from Walmart. Very nice. And I was sleeping in that. I could sleep in here on that. You'd be in this bed in that other room. Then I moved that bed into our son's room. And it was in there for a while. And he visited recently. And he kept saying, every time I visit you, I'm having an allergic reaction of some kind. Whereas I'm saying, you know what's happening to him? He's being hit by that microwave weapon. That's what's happening to him. That's what's caused him his health problems when he comes to visit me now. But does he believe that? Am I even going to tell him that? No, I'm not even going to mention it. I wouldn't dare. I'm not going to get into something like that with him. So I said, oh, it's allergies. So I said, I moved the bed out of there. And I moved it in here for the first time. So that bed I bought for you, it's in my office bedroom. Now, what does that mean? It means if you come into our house, you'll sleep in here. Does that mean I'll sleep in here? No. I'm not going to sleep in here with you. Unless you want me to. And as I said many times, when my wife and I first got together, way back in 1993, we began to sleep with each other all night, but there was no sex. She didn't want to have sex till marriage. I respected that, and I had no respect. I had no sex with her till marriage, okay? And that means we slept together. We kissed passionately and all, but we never touched down there. We never touched each other down there. No orgasms of any kind, nothing like that with each other. No, that we kiss and hug and fondle each other. She never touched me down there. I never touched her down there. Okay? We slept together and that's the way it was. Now, I figured that's an Asian thing, and if you came into this house, that might be what happens between me and you while we're getting to know each other. Okay? But then the kind of message that was slid under my door suggested that, if you move into the house, it's not going to be like that. Well, how nutty am I to think you're going to move in here when I haven't even met you? There's no sign other than that thing slipped under the door. And now I wake up and the wristwatch, which has Tokyo, Japan time, is off my wrist saying what? I don't know, but there's my footnote. Footnote, okay? Rosary beads are on a metal chain, okay? So you want to break apart a rosary bead chain? How are you going to do that? How are you going to break a chain? It's like a chain here. I got a chain around my neck here, okay? How was I breaking metal rosary bead chains in my sleep? How? Well, I don't know how. Okay, now, In the same way, my wristwatch on my wrist, okay, these are metal bands, and it's not easy to take that wristwatch off my wrist. It is not going to fall off. Now, somebody's going to think my wife comes up. No, she wouldn't do that. I mean, there's no way if she was doing that, I would wake up because she'd have to grab my hand. It's not easy to take that wristwatch off my wrist. It's not easy. My wife had nothing to do with that, so I would have had to taken that off in my sleep, which means in my sleep, I'm exercising a certain amount of activity that I would be doing in my sleep anyway. Mystery, right? Especially breaking metal rosary bead chains in my sleep. How did I do that? I don't know. I don't know how I did that. That baffles me to this day.